Hey, today we're going to talk about the 3 most important qualities you probably need to be successful at expediting. That coming up right after this.
Hey everybody, I'm Judy.
And I'm Jim, and welcome to It's a Highway Vlog, where you get to travel the country with us, and you don't even have to put away your umbrella.
So while you're drying out,
don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell so you don't miss a thing.
ding, 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 ding.
Hey, good evening, everybody. We are in Bordentown, New Jersey at the Petro.
Wahoo!
Yay. We
Pay
have
to park.
spent many weekends here, and it used to be different, but now we have to pay to park, and it's a long story. This used to be a hangout for a lot of FedEx people, especially over the weekends, and it's not so much anymore. So
It's not so much during the week, that much either.
not quite as fun as it used to be. But we're here for the evening, sort of unexpectedly. We got up this morning. Judy drove down yesterday to the TA in Ashland, Virginia.
Which is where we talked about yesterday.
That's where we were at last night. So about 1 o'clock this morning, I got up, and I was going to drive in to our delivery. It was in Philadelphia this morning. And so at about 1 o'clock, I climbed out of bed, and about that time, we told you yesterday we did not have a load. Well, we didn't. And then about 1 o'clock this morning, as I was getting out of bed, literally, they sent us a load over the Sea-Link.
Over the Sea-Link.
We're thinking it must have been a rescue load where another truck had the load and they had to pull off for some reason.
We don't know.
1 o'clock in the morning is normally when they send out loads, but it was a decent load. It picked up in New York and went back to Ohio.
Which would have gotten us closer to home for the weekend.
Closer to home. And it paid decent. It was a decent load, and so we accepted it and we got it. And so, yay, we have a load. And then so
you drove up to Elkton this morning.
Yes, to Elkton, Maryland at the TA, and we got fuel. It was probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. Sat there for about an hour.
Yeah, and we had decided last night that because we weren't quite sure where this place was. Jim does the navigating, and I do driving in the cities as much as possible because I do not do well navigating because I can't do phone and navigating at the same time.
If you look at the videos that are right before this, at the very beginning of this video, you'll see where we were driving at today. It's not out in the country. It's right downtown Philadelphia. So took some videos of that. It was pretty neat. It wasn't really bad, but it's in the city, and if you don't know where you're going, there's, you just need a navigator.
Yeah, and that's not normally, because I took over driving, about 6:30 this morning,
yep.
And I usually don't start driving until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It threw our whole day off.
Yeah, and I fortunately tried to get some sleep last night at 10 o'clock at night, which is not my normal bedtime, so it was a little hard to get all that sleep in, but that's, part of what we do.
So we sort of are keying this, I guess, video sort of more towards new expediters, people that are just coming into the business. And there's 3 things that we sort of talked about, Judy and I talked about, that when we get to tell you what happened with us today, you'll understand it. But there's 3 key things that every expediter needs to have in order to be successful.
Old, in between, anybody.
And those would be
Patience.
Hence
the 1 o'clock in the morning load.
Patience. And
flexibility.
We'll get to that. And a sense of humor. Because
most important, sense of humor.
Most important. If you're not laughing, you're crying. So, anyway, what happened with us is we got unloaded. We started heading north to our pickup. It's about 120 miles up there. And so we had to come out of Philadelphia, head north, got over on the New Jersey Turnpike, started heading north, got to right after the very last service plaza, and I noticed my phone would ring, and we had really bad service through there. And I looked at the number, and it was FedEx. And Judy and I both sort of looked at each other and went, So sure enough, the load canceled. The load that we had gotten this morning, yay!
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
And thought, hey, awesome. Well, had now canceled. And we are probably 35 miles north of where we're sitting right now with no place to go because we had already passed the last service plaza. So we had to go up, turn around, come back and set at another service plaza on the southbound side and try to figure out what we were doing. So we lost the load. Nothing we could do about that. But like we said, you got to have patience because we were impatient waiting for a load, and we finally, one showed up, and it's usually what happens. There's always loads.
And we will both share with you, that time, and I don't know about other expediters, y'all can chime in if you want to, but that's when it gets a little tense in the truck.
Yeah.
It can make or break a whole team, with those kind of, stresses, and that's just one of the little stresses. It's not horrible, but you have to get together and talk about it, and sometimes you are on the same page, sometimes you're not, and sometimes there's just no loads and you get frustrated. So that's what we mean by patience. Also with each other.
Patience with each other. Patience with loads will come. They'll eventually come. They probably may not come when you want them to. But in our case, then you got to be flexible because a load did show up this afternoon, but there's a little bit of a catch with it. It doesn't pick up till Thursday.
Yeah.
But it takes us back where we need to be in order to go get our freezer beef on Friday.
And we normally, we don't always take loads that far out, but sometimes it works, and so, it all works out in the end. That's what we usually say.
Right. So we're sitting here and was texting back and forth today, and there's a lady we know that they have a YouTube channel also. It's actually Cinnamon and Derek from Truck and Travel. And Cinnamon texted me and basically said, well, maybe the Lord God just wanted you, to keep you safe. Maybe. And that's how we sort of look at it. Maybe if we would have taken that load, something would have happened. And maybe that was his way of keeping us out of harm's way. So that's the way we've always...
Or there's something better around the corner.
Or there's something better. That's the way we've always looked at the loads. That's just our philosophy. Just because one load cancels, that doesn't mean there's something better. And actually the load that we got pays better than the load and takes us closer to home. Well, that's
No, yeah.
Not really, but it's a good load. We'll say that.
We'll convince ourselves of that anyway.
And the flexibility part comes in is because now we took a short load in the meantime for tomorrow. That's not the greatest of loads. It pays really well per mile,
Right.
but it doesn't. It's very short. I think, what is it, 6 miles?
Yeah.
And so it pays really good per mile.
We're going deadheading 20 some miles.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
20 some miles to run a 6 mile run.
Shortest deadheading ever.
So anyway, so we got that. So that's sort of the flexibility. And if another load pops up tomorrow, we may just go ahead and take that. And so we're trying to make the best of this week. We're trying to salvage our week.
And something Friday might pop up in the afternoon that we can take that even gets us closer to home.
Right.
That way too.
Well, and the sense of humor, we just have to laugh at the situation because we know we're not in control. And I know there's folks that get all upset and get frustrated and maybe yell at the dispatchers. I mean, they're not up there going, "Hey, let's mess with them today." I don't think
Although
that
it's kind
happens.
of funny to think like that sometimes.
Sometimes you wonder, but we really don't. No.
Because they have it harder, just as hard as we do.
They have to deal with us all the time.
They get to deal with all the great person complainers sometimes.
So anyway, that's sort of our thoughts about what happens, because expediting is one of those jobs. It's one thing that we love about it sometimes, and it's one thing that drives us crazy sometimes, is the fact that you really never know what's happening tomorrow.
And you never know when a load will just pop out of nowhere either. So
Right.
if you're out there and you don't have a load, it's easy to get so frustrated and irritable and irritated and, whatever. But there's something that, well, today I think a load popped up like 15 minutes before you had to go get it.
Right. And
that's
they could, not wishing this on anybody, but I mean, there could be instances of where we are sitting on a load like this, and another load, a rescue load, pops up that they may call us tonight that we may have to go get. That just happens. You have to be flexible. I would say that's probably the quality that you have to do what we do, because if you make plans, that's what Judy and I say. If we're setting on a weekend and we don't have a load, all we have to do is make plans, because as soon as we make plans, boom, they'll get changed.
Yeah.
And we just have to roll with the punches.
And that sometimes, people stack loads, which we do too sometimes, and, then something cancels, and that kind of messes with everything else. But
it's been our experience over the years.
Things work out.
9 times out of 10, a better load will come along, and we'll end up in a better situation. I guess we just weren't meant to have, that load. So,
yeah.
But that's all we can do. So, right?
Yep, that's it. That's all we can work at. So.
All right. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
And remember to be flexible, patient, and have a sense of humor in anything you do in life.
Yeah, it's too short. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Definitely. Don't do.
See you in the next video.
Alrighty. So long, everybody.
Good night.